Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the public session of the Committee of the Whole meeting of the Halton District School Board on September 16, 2025. Please be advised that the meeting is being recorded and is being live streamed on the hdsb.ca and on the HDSB YouTube channel. We'll do a brief roll call. Trustee Bryden.
Here.
Trustee Rocha.
Here.
Trustee Baxter.
Good evening.
Trustee Womenhorst. Chair Collard.
I'm here, thanks.
Trustee Daniele.
Thank you, I'm here.
Trustee Zhang.
Good evening.
Trustee Horst. Horn.
Oh, sorry.
Hi. Trustee Horn. And Trustee Gray.
Here.
Thank you. And we're waiting on Trustee Ahmed. Director Ennis, can you please let us know which staff are in attendance this evening?
Thank you, Vice Chair Oliver, and good evening, everyone. We have all the appropriate staff this evening to support the meeting.
Okay, thank you very much. Tonight, Trustee Daniele will be honoring the land.
Thank you. We begin by acknowledging the land and our responsibility to care for and respect all that provides us with life. This land upon which the HDSB is situated is on the ancestral, treaty, and title lands of the Anishinaabeg, Ojibwe, Michizagik Nation, now known as the Mississaugas of the Credit. Michizagik territory in the past and present continues to host both Indigenous and non-Indigenous peoples. The HDSB is committed to continuous knowledge building with respect to actions that address and resolve the ongoing impacts of colonialism. We do this by learning and understanding the true history, treaty obligations, duties and responsibilities, and Indigenous rights, while actively maintaining mutually beneficial relationships and collectively respecting and caring for the land.
Thank you. We'll move on to the approval of the agenda. Trustee Womenhorst, would you like to move a motion to approve the agenda for tonight's meeting? Thank you. I'll put the question on the floor. Are there any objections to approving the agenda? Seeing none, it's approved by unanimous consent. On to declarations of possible conflict of interest. In relation to tonight's agenda, are there any declarations of possible conflict of interest? Thank you. Seeing none, we'll move on to item 4.0. And that's consent agenda. I'll put the motion on the floor. Be it resolved that the board approve the consent agenda action item as listed on the September 16, 2025 Committee of the Whole meeting agenda. Trustee Zhang, would you like to move a motion to deal with the consent agenda?
Yes, please.
Thank you. Does this item need to be pulled for discussion? Are there any objections to approving the consent agenda? Okay, seeing none, consent agenda is approved by unanimous consent. All right, on tonight's agenda, item 5.0, we have 8 discussion items, and we'll start with, all of them are policies. We will begin with copyright fair dealing policy with Superintendent Connor.
Thank you. So this is a very brief policy that speaks to the expectation that all of the staff of the HDSB will comply with the fair dealing guidelines in accordance with the Copyright Act and the Supreme Court decisions from 2014-2012. I did have a few minor suggestions, which I appreciate and will incorporate, and I'm open to any additional questions.
Are there any questions on this topic? Ooh, I need to activate. Okay, Trustee Bryden.
Thank you, Vice Chair. My question really is whether this policy, given its very limited scope, merits existing on its own, or whether it should live simply as the admin procedure that exists already, or if it should slide into merge with something else that we have on the books already. Following on one of my fellow committee members' approaches to us streamlining and reducing the number of policies that we have just to make it easier to navigate.
Manager Khan, would you like to speak to that? No? Okay. Sorry. I thought I saw your hand.
My apologies, Chair. I was flagging about another issue within the system, not with respect to the question. Sorry, that was a very brief response. Yeah, thank you.
All right. Go ahead.
Yeah, so
Superintendent Connor. Thank you.
just to respond, yeah, I don't really have a strong position one way or the other. To be quite frank, it is a very brief policy, and the administrative procedures do speak with clarity and with greater depth around what is highlighted within the policy itself.
Thank you. If there are any other questions, I'm activating the speakers list, but I'm not seeing any names coming up, so I'm not sure if it's a system issue. Okay. All right, so we're okay to move on to item 5.2, and that's access to board premises policy with Superintendent Fowler. Over to you.
Thank you, Joanna. So again, very similar, just a few minor updates and new formatting based on the new template that we're using. Thank you to all of the trustees for the number of questions and queries. I am looking at all of those. I've responded to some today, but happy to take anything further and look forward to making those additions and deletions and bringing it back at the next board meeting.
Are there any questions for Superintendent Fowler? Okay, Trustee Baxter.
Did it not work? The request? Oh, okay. Thank you, through you, Vice Chair. I just had a question, and I apologize if but it sounds like there's been discussions outside in the meeting, so it may have already been asked, so I apologize if it's a duplication, but I was wondering about the language. The HDSB recognizes that, as opposed to just access is in accordance with. And then the other question I had, recognizing that the language hasn't changed, so I'm not questioning a change at all, but just since we're in the process of review, wondering what the sentence means. The HDSB endorses and promotes an access to school premises policy, which is consistent with the values, traditions, and distinctiveness of public schools. And I'm just wondering what that means, and perhaps maybe it came from somewhere, but just a good opportunity for me to ask what the meaning is. Thank you.
Thank you. This is a policy that we just simply transferred over. So if you have, that question has actually been asked, which is brilliant. And I would fully agree with you that we need to either make it more clear as to what it means or think about rewording it in some way, shape, or form. So definitely that's been captured in a comment. And I'll make sure that when it comes back, it looks different than that. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions for Superintendent Fowler on this policy? Okay. We'll move on to item 5.3, and that's prohibition regarding alcohol and recreational use of cannabis products policy, again with Superintendent Fowler.
Thank you very much. So again, just an update of the template, and the policy has been transferred over. There are definitely a few comments about maybe making some changes as to what is a policy statement versus an objective. So that's something I appreciate the feedback on, and I'll look at that before it comes back to board. And certainly lots of other really great comments that I will be addressing before it returns. But if there's anything specific you'd like to discuss, happy to do so. Thank you.
Any questions for Superintendent Fowler? I see Trustee Bryden.
Thanks. My overarching one is why do we have a policy on alcohol and recreational use of cannabis, but not a policy on tobacco or vaping? Is there a reason that we need one and don't need the other?
Great, thank you. So what I believe to be true, and in reflecting on this, I'll certainly double check, but the tobacco and cannabis is captured under the Smoke-Free Ontario Act. So it governs public board offices regardless. Whereas there would be some places where you could apply for an exception to a rule to allow, say, alcoholic beverages and or medical cannabis, great. So you could be exempt, but as a board, we are saying that that's prohibited as well. So that's sort of the differentiation. But it is a policy that we could look to change because it is a policy that the trustees organize. So whatever you think.
So I support the policy in its current form. The question about recreational medicinal cannabis I raised as well, and that's something just to clarify whether that exemption exists or not. If there is, given that we have coverage for tobacco already, and it's in our code of conduct, there's a bunch of places that already exists. I was curious kind of why we needed one and not the other, and I think that's a reasonable explanation. So.
Okay, next up, Trustee Gray.
Thank you very much. I was a little bit being helped by my colleague here during the answer to this last question, so I hope I'm not asking this question again. This notion of this policy dealing with alcohol and recreational use of cannabis products, would we not also consider the recreational use of any kind of drug in this policy? And I know that this is very limiting, and maybe I missed it, and I heard the answer about that there is an act about this, but I just wonder is this inclusive of all drugs that might be brought onto property and used in any way that would not be appropriate?
I think, Trustee Gray, these products that are listed here are legal products in different contexts, whereas the ones you're mentioning are not legal.
Any other questions for Superintendent Fowler? Trustee Zhang?
Oh, thank you. This policy document is a set very clear direction, so it's great on this point. And I have some just one comment, sharing my opinion. So for this policy, we should designate a department or school administration or the senior staff from the board to do the policy, or in the future order the procedure enforcement under this policy, because we need to know, and the public also need to know who is responsible to fulfill these duties. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, absolutely. I think that the responsibility currently does lie with the Superintendent of Safe Schools. So I think that's clear.
Okay, any final questions on this? All right, moving on to flags policy, and that's with General Manager Francie.
Thank you. The flag policy guides how flags are flown, lowered, and displayed at schools and other HDSB buildings. There are no significant changes to this policy tonight, just updated language to align with the new policy template and the flag AP, which was updated in January. I've incorporated the grammatical comments that I've received and happy to provide information for any additional comments or questions.
Are there any questions for General Manager Francie? Please put yourself on a speaker's list if you on the speaker's list. Okay.
I'll put you on the list.
Go ahead, Trustee Zhang.
Thank you. So there's three points. So the first, I checked the federal government website for half-masting rule, there are 23 rules. The first 11 rules may be applicable at the municipal level, so we need to check if these rules are, or any one of that is applicable. We need to add the webpage, the federal rules in our reference in this policy. And the second one is every Canadian citizen, a permanent resident, and an international student who enroll in our program must respect the national flag. And so when we fly a flag or demonstrate any display a flag, national flag, so the pattern of the flag should not be changed. Because everyone to show the respect to the flag. So this is about the policy statement, paragraph number 2. And the third is about the policy statement, paragraph 3. We are Canadian citizens. We are Canadians, and for Canadian or all the permanent resident who come to Canada, and we know we have the same identity that we are Canadian, and because we are Canadian, we show our strength and pride, and that's why we don't need to show our community. So we celebrate because Canada we have a cultural diversity. So we celebrate our festivals and we celebrate our religious. So everything is okay. But because our school board serve all students from all over the world, and that's why we only need to fly national flag, not any other flags. Thank you.
Thank you for the questions. I can provide some information to just to provide some clarity. So for your first comment, yes, there certainly is guidance from the federal government on when to half-mast the flag, and these rules apply to school boards, and they're listed in the Flag AP. The current statement is written in a way that remains flexible so that as guidelines change at the federal level, this policy would remain accurate because we would always be consulting those guidelines. With respect to the pattern of the flag, throughout the policy, it is stated that the flag must be flown in good order, consistent with national guidelines and protocols, so that would include the pattern of the flag. And I can provide some information just to support the third question, Trustee Zhang. So occasionally throughout the school year, and it is outlined in the Flag AP, another flag may be flown in addition to the Canadian flag. This most often takes place at the board office where there's 2 flagpoles, but it may also occur at schools as well. When it is at schools, the additional flag would always be flown beneath the Canadian flag, or if not, it would be displayed inside the school. In these cases, approval from the director is required, and only flags that support community awareness initiatives consistent with the HDSB's values would be considered. These initiatives are also required to align with the principles of our Safe Schools policy, our Human Rights and Equity Action and Accountability Plan, and the Ontario Human Rights Code. Flags connected to political parties or religious groups are not permitted. A recent example would be the flying of the Halton Learning Foundation flag during the month of April for HLF month. This was a new initiative in the last couple of years, which was not outlined in our AP, but because the policy has this statement, there was flexibility to fly that flag. So that practice does take place infrequently, but it is intended to provide opportunities to build awareness for community initiatives and help support a safe and respectful school community.
Follow up. So, because we are here, we need to promote the community, the harmony and the fairness, and we have the inclusion. Inclusion is a spirit of and our value. If we show one of the flag, one kind of community awareness flag, we should allow any other community awareness flag to go. And this is the inclusion and the fairness. So otherwise, we just show one. This is our identity. We are Canadian, so we show Canadian national flag. So my concern is, these years we can see more, a lot of dispute in the community happen. It's happening, some situation happening. And if we allow certain flags to be flown in the school board, and so we may introduce like cultural dispute and a religious dispute or the political and anything into our board, and it compromises our goal of well-being of students. That's my concern. Thank you.
Okay, next on the list is Trustee Gray.
Thank you very much. In all my years in sitting at this table, the most controversial thing that I've seen about flags is the ability of schools to be able to fly the flags that they would like to under this policy that we have. Some schools are fortunate enough to have 2 flagpoles, and most other schools only have 1 flagpole. And I just wonder, is there a concern about it's almost an equity thing where we want all schools to be sharing in the same messaging in their communities. And when you can drive past one school in your community that has that affordability of 2 flagpoles and can express those community values through the flags that we permit them to fly, but the next school has to display the second flag inside their school. I wonder if that's pointing to an issue that should be addressed maybe at some point by our capital funding or so on. Yeah, I leave the question open on that.
Thank you for the question. I can certainly take that back to our facility services team. I do believe the majority of our schools do have just the 1 flagpole. So in that case, the community awareness flag, if that is the decision, it would be flown below the Canadian flag. So there is always that option in addition to having it on display in the school building as well.
Okay, and next up is Trustee Horn. Not the name I said before, which was my
I don't know what the name was
name.
you said before anyways. That's okay. Thanks, Joanna. So I've got a couple questions, a couple for Heather and also a couple for Shinyi because I'm a little bit confused. For Heather, what I'm wondering is, so you spoke of the idea about the Halton Learning Foundation flag and that new process. So if there is a community organization out in the community, what is the process if they want the school board to fly a flag to represent their cause?
Thanks for the question. So they would connect with our director's office because the flying of an additional flag would have to be approved by the director of education. And then we would look as to whether it is in alignment with the other policies and guidelines in this policy and in our AP, and then a decision would be made.
And so a follow-up on that, with those community flags being flown here at the board versus at individual schools. So an individual school, if they want to fly, and I don't know if schools have their own flags, if they want to fly a flag that represents something within their community on their flagpole alone, are they allowed to do that?
Yes, they are. They need permission from the principal in consultation with the family of school superintendent.
Okay, thank you. And my next question is for Shinyi, because I just want a little bit of clarification. You spoke about the pattern of the flag. So you were speaking about the traditional pattern of the Canadian flag. So I'm just wondering, I've never seen another, apart from our traditional Canadian flag, in the Halton District School Board. So I'm just trying to figure out what you're referencing there. Thanks.
I mean, the current, the Canadian flag today. So the Canadian flag has several different formats. It has indoor, outdoor, and other different, like the horizontal, vertical, different formats. All these formats are valid. I mean, if we can identify it, the pattern is a Canadian flag, we should not merge or blend it with some other symbols because these are our unique symbol.
Right. So again, follow up again. So I'm just really, because I'm a little bit confused because, and I'm going to turn to the director as well, because you can help me with this too, because you have to okay it. So the Canadian flag, the traditional, what I see as the Canadian flag is red stripe, white background, red maple leaf, red stripe. That is the only flag, the only Canadian flag that the Halton District School Board flies, correct?
That is correct.
Okay, so again, I'm just coming back to Shanique. I'm really confused because I just felt that the question was loaded to make it sound as if we had flown a flag other than the Canadian flag. Or are you referring to the flags that might fly underneath or beside? Like, I'm just confused because for me, the Canadian flag is the only flag I've ever seen representing the Canadian nationality within our schools. So I'm just wanting to clarify that question. Thanks.
Okay, so I mean, this is if we see a flag, it doesn't matter, this is horizontal or vertical. So if the flag, there's a white in the middle and there's a maple leaf. And so I received a concern. I got a phone call, and in one of the school and display a national flag, and the flag is the maple leaf was blended with some other symbols. So this is not respectful to our national flag. That's why.
So again, follow up, did you bring your concern to the director?
No, not yet. I see this as a policy. We are in the review, so just put in policy so everyone knows what the rule is.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions or comments on this policy? Okay, seeing none, we will move on to community-based facility enhancements policy with Superintendent Gaudet.
Thank you. I just got my speakers working. So this has been slightly revised to include Superintendent of Business Services as we align the work that we do, looking for projects to be fully funded and consideration for time of project delivery. We're looking to leverage our new elementary and secondary accommodation committees that will consider diverse perspectives across our board in the submission of these projects for approval. And with that, I think I saw a couple friendly amendments which we can make for submission for board. Happy to take any questions.
Any questions for Superintendent Gaudet? I see Trustee Bryden.
Thank you. I've got a couple questions about how often this policy is used and what we're hoping to achieve with it beyond what we're achieving right now.
I'm sorry, I'm not hearing anything now.
Yeah. Sounds like Superintendent Gaudet's not getting the question.
Oh, I can hear now.
Okay. So how often is this policy used under existing practice? And are we actively looking to grow this kind of funding of facility enhancements or not? And if so, what would need to be in place to make that happen?
Thanks for the question. I do think that we are seeing these requests rather infrequently, but at the same time enough that we require a policy or procedure to help us with them. We've seen a couple unique ones recently with fundraising potentially for a turf field, which creates challenges for us to contemplate and ensure that we can properly deliver and support the community funding efforts. So I think traditionally we've seen these for smaller full ground improvements, but we are seeing some unique opportunities going forward.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions on this policy? Seeing none, we'll move on to environmental leadership and sustainability policy with Superintendents Gaudet and Flahaut.
Thank you. If I were to start, know Superintendent Flaha is excited about this book as well. We collaborate on this with our manager, the environmental, but certainly we wanted to represent the fact that we are use technology as well as our intelligence in terms of the environment. I will say this policy is slightly unique in that it has a multi-year strategic plan item. And so we're trying to be mindful not to copy the policy itself. And with that, I think we also added some alignment with our Indigenous portfolio. And I'd be happy to turn it over to Superintendent Flahat if he'd like to add something further.
Thank you, Superintendent Gaudette. Through the chair, the sustainability policy is committed to preparing students for today, tomorrow's social, environmental, economic challenges. And one of the things that you'll see on this policy is that it was called the sustainability policy, and you'll notice that the environmental leadership and sustainability has been showcased in terms of our direction, because our system direction has been about getting students to learn and lead the learning in our schools and across our schools. It's not just about our buildings and our facilities. And so part of that, the policy focused on empowering students and staff to act responsibly, innovate, and respect the interconnectedness of all living beings. It recognizes that sustainability is advanced not only through teaching and learning, but also through daily operational practices. And the policy is also committed to building just, equitable, and sustainable world, linking an environmental responsibility with social justice and human rights. And everyone in the system, students, staff, community partners, and vendors, this policy applies to them. And what's new also is the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals has been added to the policy. This will provide the guiding framework for both education and operations across the entire system. Thank you.
Thank you for that. Any questions on this policy? Nope, I'm not seeing any. Oh, Trustee Bryden?
Sorry, it takes 3 clicks now to request to speak. I like the addition of the SDGs as a framework. I know that they resonate well within our schools and across the students and staff. My question is that this policy is set up strictly as are creating freedom to do things. You are empowered to innovate, to go forward, to take action. Great, go do it. But it doesn't actually require anything of anyone. So if anyone doesn't do that, they're not contravening the policy. And given that as a board, we declared a climate emergency, shouldn't we be taking a little stronger stance in what we're asking our board to do to demonstrate environmental leadership and move us on a more sustainable pathway?
Thank you. Through the chair, through the vice chair, sorry. And one of the things that we committed, one of the very few school boards across the province, we made a commitment through our multi-year strategic plan, which drives all of the work, and it is required work to focus on the multi-year strategic plan. And part of that work, there are key objectives in our multi-year strategic plan. And if I may, I'll read those objectives simply because at a later date in our next board meeting, we'll be showcasing some of that work through our environmental leadership and sustainability impact report, which will come here and will detail a lot of those types of suggestions. But the key objectives of our multi-year strategic plan: number 1, emphasize opportunities for students to develop future-ready skills, including critical thinking, creativity, problem-solving, empathy, adaptability, and environmental stewardship. Number 2, leverage technology mindfully to support and enhance intellectual and social development. And number 3, incorporate the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals into learning and working environments. These are not optional pieces for our system. We made a commitment as a system to drive this work and lead this work. All of our system leaders are leading this work across every school. There's a commitment from everyone that was made to say, this is what we're all about and this is what we're focusing on. So the multi-year strategic plan is driving this work right across the system. And the policy is simply a reminder. And also, it is a policy, of course, to say that this is what we're giving you permission to do, lead the work. But the multi-year strategic plan is actually the driver behind all of this work. It's a requirement. Everyone is engaging in the multi-year strategic plan.
I'll follow up. I don't see those things as mutually exclusive. And in that sense, our multi-year strategic plan is a 4-year plan. And our policies are intended to be semi-permanent. That we are, I know that a lot of the multi-year strategic plan actions echo long past that 4-year window. But we are, when we set out in policy, we are saying, it's kind of almost the difference between when we make our commitments in the strategic plan, this is what we are striving for, and when we set in our policy, this is what we will do. It's a will and a shall are our policy statements, and it feels like there is space in this policy for us to be more ambitious than we are being right now.
Happy to review that, but I'm looking at guiding principle in number 4 under guiding principles, and really it's very direct. The board shall apply equity and sustainability approaches to education and all operations to promote the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. The UN SDGs will act as a framework. So it's actually given the system a shall. It's not an optional piece for people to use. But if you feel that there needs to be stronger language than that, I'm happy to review and look at that and happy to take any suggestions forward.
Okay. Thank you for that. Any other questions or comments on this policy? All right, then we'll move on to cybersecurity and data protection policy with Superintendent Schoss.
Thanks. Good evening. So the report is before you. Some fairly minor changes overall. A heads up that the title of the document is likely to change to cybersecurity and data governance. Was at a session, the Ontario Public Sector Innovation Showcase last week, and that's the direction the Ontario Public Service is heading. So I think we're going to reflect that in our policy. And appreciate there were some suggestions and questions in the document, and appreciate those and take them under advisement and open to questions. Thank you.
Any questions on this policy? Okay. Trustee Horn.
I'm just trying to find the piece that I was looking at. So,
okay.
Okay, I found it.
Got it?
Okay, so
ahead.
Jonathan, under point A, it talks about this. Under point B, cybersecurity wellness architecture, the requirements of the provincial cybersecurity wellness architecture and standards. So I'm wondering, do they have particular programming that we have to use, and what is the cost associated with that?
Thanks for the question through the Vice Chair. We have been enrolled. This is our 4th year now, I think, in an initiative funded by the Ministry around cybersecurity and data protection. Not all boards have been invited to join yet, or maybe some have turned them down, but the number is growing. So we've made tremendous progress with the support of the Ministry of Education, but there's another ministry that's kind of taken it over. And so we follow their requirements. Like if we're going to be part of the initiative, they provide some funding, and then we have to hit the targets, the measures that they set out. Yes.
So then again, a follow-up. So they have funding currently. Is that funding forever? And if not, have we looked at how we are ensuring our budget is recognizing that we will have a certain amount of a pocket of money that we're going to need to reserve to ensure we are able to fulfill our policy?
Great question. We've received a significant amount of funding over the last 3 years, and we have another good amount of money for this current school year to implement measures. 1 year to the next, there's no guarantee that next year, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, that funding will be there. This board, the director, the trustees have been very supportive of ensuring that the funding is there for cybersecurity and data protection, network security, all those pieces. It will be a challenge moving forward, as you know, with other pressures on our competing for the attention. But I'm confident that we'll be able to navigate that and find a good place to keep everybody safe.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And next up, Trustee Gray.
Thank you very much. Earlier today, I communicated to Jonathan regarding the policy due for review being October 2029. I think this is a field that is moving so quickly that 4 years from now may be too long, but I just want assurances that policies can come forward before the review date so that they could be altered as needed when needed.
Yes, our policy on policies says that this is a minimum of 4 years and that they should be brought back if there are legislative changes or changes in how we wish to conduct our work.
Okay. I don't see anybody else on the speakers list, so we'll move on to the final policy for discussion, and that's Privacy Information Management Policy, again with Superintendent Strauss.
Right, thank you. So again, policies before you, mostly minor edits. I'd like to thank Trustee Gray for pointing out the PIM. We need to flip where the full term there. Thanks for pointing that out. I'm not sure how we missed that one. And largely the changes revolve, for the most part, around the addition of some PHIPAA information, some compliance pieces, and I think that's it. Open to questions.
Any questions or comments on this policy? I'm not seeing any. So that wraps up agenda item 5.0, and we'll move on to committee updates. Our standing committees will begin with board self-assessment, and that's an update from me. On behalf of the Board Self-Assessment Committee, I had shared a link to a 2025 Board Self-Assessment Survey, which was a duplication of the 2024 survey we had seen. The purpose is so that we can compare the results and see what kind of progress we have made. I shared the results just prior to this meeting because I was waiting for as many trustees to respond as possible. So in the summary, you'll see there are tabs on your left-hand side specific to each of the questions. The questions, you'll recall, are grouped into categories. And I've included the 2025 results under the 24 so that you can quickly compare both the chart and also the comments that were made. And then I shared a document with you where I invite you to share your any kind of thoughts you have once you had the chance to review the results, so that you can reflect on, what kind of stands out for you, what's surprising, where do you think we could use more work and development, and any suggestions for professional development. So that's where you may enter your ideas, and if we could have that completed by next Tuesday, that would be great. And then I can take that back to the committee and connect with the Professional Development Committee to see where we go from here. Are there any questions on this topic? Sorry? Okay, yep. I'll give you a few minutes to peruse.
I believe that where trustees disagree and areas of strength have been duplicated. The same information from where trustees disagree is also under areas of strength in my copy.
Okay, I apologize for that. I will correct that and reshare the file.
Can I just ask a question? Sorry, Joanna. Are we just looking right now, or are we like?
I just wanted to give you a few minutes to have a look to see if any of the questions or comments for the committee. But otherwise, the document was shared with you so that you can put your responses
So
in
I
there.
just think that right now, for us being to look through, we're just kind of
Yes.
wasting our time. I think we should just move on. That's just.
Yep. Okay. Thank you. So we'll move on to financial advocacy. And that is also an update from me. The committee has not yet met yet. However, the information of relevance and interest to HDSB and HDSB education stakeholders is available on our website under the board and correspondence from the chair. So I know our website had gone through some changes, but that is where we will find it as previously. And if anybody is looking for it, and I'm saying that out there to our stakeholders, feel free to email me and I will share that link with you if you're having a difficult time accessing that. Are there any questions? Okay, not seeing any. We'll move on to policy, bylaws, and governance with Trustee Bryden.
Thank you. The committee met last Friday and is currently reviewing or reviewed the bylaw and the Director of Education policy and one of the related GPs, which will be coming to Committee of the Whole in November in both cases. We are also looking to update the filling a trustee vacancy GP given our experience in the spring, and the appointments and other roles GP as related to electronic meetings. We meet again October 3rd. Oh, and the Code of Conduct is also needs to be updated in parallel with provincial regs. We meet again October 3rd, and as always, the agenda and will be circulated to all trustees, and you are welcome to attend if you let me know.
Okay, I don't see any speakers on the list, so we'll move on to Trustees Professional Development, Planning with Trustee Ahmed.
Through you, Madam Vice Chair, the committee has not met this year yet, and once I have the update, I'll update them. Thank you.
Okay, and Chair Collard.
Thank you. I just wanted to remind trustees that we passed a motion at our last meeting to merge the Professional Development Planning Standing Committee with the Board Self-Assessment Standing Committee. And I did put out a note asking for trustees who wanted to serve on this ad hoc committee. So far, there are 2 of us. I thought it might be a good idea for the chair of each committee to be there if Trustee Ahmed would agree to be on the committee. That would make us 3. And if anyone else wants, we still have room for 2 more. And if you don't have time for it right now or is not in your interest, then I think the 3 of us is probably going to be enough. So I'll just leave that out there.
All right, thank you very much. And so we'll move on to agenda item 7.0, and that's trustee questions of clarification for anything that we covered on this agenda. Are there any? Okay, I'm not seeing any, so moving on to trustee news. Is there any trustee news for tonight's meeting? Trustee Zhang.
Thank you. We will have the second peak conference in November. So this is time we invite the other trustees, if you have any topic to speak, have a workshop in our conference, please just let us know. And we also welcome our community members and the community organizations who want to have a table or just join us to workshop to share your expertise. So everyone's welcome. So just contact one of us. Contact Superintendent Connor. Thank you.
Thank you for this update. So this is the Parent Involvement Committee, and so all parents of all students in HDSB are invited to participate. It is a free conference, and I believe childcare is provided. Trustee Zhang, do you have the date and location for this?
Superintendent Connor, do you have any details? That for the
Yes,
Okay.
certainly. I'm happy to share some information. We're very excited. It is happening this fall, November 15th on a Saturday. We will have childcare as we've had in the past. We will also have transportation, which has been well received by our community members as well. And the location is at Elsie McGill Secondary School. So we're very, very excited. We're meeting actually tomorrow night for a couple of hours. We have wonderful workshops, tremendous presentations, and community representation as well. So we're very much looking forward to the event.
Thank you very much. That is always a wonderful event, and we're looking forward to it. Any questions or comments? Okay, that has exhausted our agenda for the Committee of the Whole, and Trustee Gray?
I'm sorry. I had thought I saw Trustee Daniele with her hand up. Did you need to say anything, make any comments?
No, when Trustee Oliver asked the location and the time, she was asking my question.
Perfect. Thank you very much. I just wanted to express at this time a good news story, if I may. And it's a story of gratitude and reflects really on the very hard work that goes on over the summer when most of us are not at point duty in our positions, but certainly others are. And I had reflected earlier with Superintendent Connor and also with Roxana that in all of my 11 years as a trustee, I've never had such a quiet start to this year in the sense of transportation. And up in the hills, it's really, really important because we don't have any transportation where the kids can rely on a bus or any other subsequent form of transportation. And so I just want to put it out there, kudos, and I intend to write an email tonight when I get home to the HSTS for their fine work. I'm also going to Knockwood because I realize that we are not through a full month of school yet. However, I want to express gratitude on behalf of really myself and likely most of the rest of us here, where it's been a very quiet start to the school year, likely due to the very, very vast amount of work that went on over the summer to anticipate some of the great needs of our students in transporting students from here and there and everywhere across the board. So thank you to the HSTS.
Thank you very much, Trustee Gray. That is a great comment and a great gratitude to our transportation providers for all our students. So the agenda is exhausted, and I call this meeting adjourned. Thank you.
We'll take a break.